Dump your Fugettu stocks and invest in Benji Coin today. Hello and welcome back to Suck War Central. My name is CJ, and today I want to talk about which princes I think are most likely to survive the succession war by putting them onto this tier list here. Don't worry about the tier names, just know that higher up is better. By the way, this isn't about who's gonna win, mind you, just survive, because those are very different things. First of all, I'm convinced it is possible for a king to be crowned without everybody dying based on Nasabi's explanation that interpreting the sole survivor definition is up to the princes. And second of all, quite frankly, it's anyone's game at this point. So let's dive into which princes I think will survive the war and which ones are guillotine food. Side note, I just want to clarify, I'm not asking who's going to survive the voyage, but specifically just the succession contest, because I think the contest will end well before the voyage ends, and a lot of people who survive the contest will end up getting killed shortly after by everything else going to shit on the Black Whale. First Prince Benjamin is 100% not gonna make it, and believe it or not, this has nothing to do with the fact that he's currently poisoned and dying. See, there are all sorts of ways he could survive. His Nen beast, an agreement with Tobea to have her beast produce a cure, or any other number of unknown beast abilities could theoretically save him, or just Nen abilities in general. However, the real reason I think he's screwed is because he wants to kill everybody. Put simply, I think Kurapika is going to stop at nothing to ensure Wubble survives, and I think Wubble will survive. Therefore, any prince who's gonna insist on killing Wubble will have to go down. Now this isn't an automatic death sentence, because like I said in my Camilla video, I could see Kurapika forcing some of these more murderous princes into a position where they have to accept a judgment chain on their heart that forces them to spare Wubble in exchange for becoming king. However, I don't see this happening with Benjamin Tenjamin here. See, in principle, Benjamin theoretically has the country's best interests at heart and will spare the baby if it's good for the country. However, Benjamin's fatal flaws are threefold: temper, impulsiveness, and pride. He hates his siblings and genuinely wants them all wiped out. He jumps right to murdering everybody as his preferred course of action, and he truly believes he is better than all the other princes. These negative qualities would have totally fucked him over a long time ago, if not for his right-hand man Balsamico might. Because Ben's biggest redeeming quality is that he can be talked out of doing stupid shit by people he respects and cares about, he did have a shot before Balsamico died. However, neither of those things apply to Kurapika. Benjamin is wired for violence, has been pushed into a corner, lost the most important person to him, has nobody left to give him the same kind of quality advice as Balsamico, and is just generally pissed at everything and everyone. He will not make good decisions, you can count on that, and is in such a state that I genuinely think he would sooner burn the whole Black Whale to the ground than spare a single one of his siblings. Therefore, he goes in this tier. Second Prince Camilla might seem like she's in the same boat as Benjamin at first glance, what with her determination to absolutely murderize all her siblings. However, as I've already explored in this video, link in the description, I do not think she has Benjamin's resolve. If Kurapika forces her to make a deal or die, she will fold like wet cardboard. To me, this line about wanting to change the world is a red flag, because as we all know, so yeah, Cammy's going in this tier. If you want to see me dive more into why, like I said, watch the other video, because this one's gonna be long enough as it is. So Zong Lelay, on the other hand, is probably Zong Lelay fucked, but that's nothing. That's nothing. Why did I say that? Anyway, he doesn't have the death flag of being a merciless tyrant like Benjamin, and I think he would allow any prince who recognized him as king to survive his rule. However, he has fled to the Zhiyu family's hideout. The Zhiyu family are not a good place to be right now. They're currently at war with the Halenberg, and with 3 of their freshly powered up members seeking to kill the underboss, they might soon be enemies of the Cha'ar and the Phantom Troop, and now that special martial law has begun and they're harboring Zong Lelay, they're gonna be enemies of the Royal Army and every other prince, and oh my god, Zong Lelay is such a delicious little pint-sized 50-point snack, so yeah, watch out for that. He's probably gonna be the first prince to get killed by the Halenberg. Anyway, first of all, his guardian spirit beast doesn't seem that helpful. Honestly, I think escaping to the Zhiyu might have been a bad move for Zong Lelay. because if he's in with the mafia, the soldiers have every justification to shoot first and ask questions later, while if he stayed in his room, Benjamin couldn't execute him until his martial law was legitimized in the Justice Bureau, which might not even happen. Fourth Prince Terror Sandwich, derp, he's in the exact same boat as Benjamin. Like seriously, if I'd say there was a 1 in a million chance of Benjamin letting Wubble live, there's a 0 in a million chance that the same applies to Terror Sandwich. Fifth Prince Tobea, on the other hand, is a different story. Believe it or not, she's actually my current #1 pick to become king. See, sure, she wants to kill the 4 upper princes, but I think that's doable. Not that she'll be the one to kill them, because she's a bit impotent, but like, look at these princes' placements on my list. Yeah, she won't have to do much, they're already kind of fucked for other reasons. Plus, she has an alliance with Kurapika that could come in clutch to save her, and her Nen Beast might actually buy her some time if she manages to make a cure for Benjamin's poison. Also, she's cautious and restrained enough that if she had to choose between becoming king and surviving, I think she would choose surviving as long as none of her 4 oldest siblings are the ones that become king. Ergo, Kurapika can probably work with her in both the short term and long term, and working with Kurapika is pretty much the best chance she or anyone has at surviving this conflict. Sixth Prince Tyson might at first glance look like a goner. However, she has 2 secret weapons that I think give her much better odds of survival than it may first appear. First of all, her Nen Beast has a massive stockpile of aura that it's been steadily collecting from her followers. What does that stockpile actually do? Well, I guess we don't know for sure, but it's a pretty safe and logical assumption, I feel, that it powers some kind of defense mechanism for when Tyson is threatened. I theorize all about what it does in this video, but suffice it to say, it's got some kind of yet-to-be-revealed trump card that could absolutely throw a wrench in the works of any attempts to execute her. Her second secret weapon, though, is Izunami. This guy is an absolute expert at Nen, so when her beast reveals its ace in the hole, it's Izunami who's going to be able to come up with a strategy to utilize it to its fullest. Also, Izunami is genuinely on her side, and he hasn't read the Book of Tyson. This means a few things. First of all, his thinking won't be clouded by the dopamine overload, and the beast isn't collecting his aura, so he'll be in very top form when shit hits the fan. Secondly, because he hasn't read the book, Izunami isn't considered one of her followers, and is thus presumably immune to the punishment the Nen Beast metes out for breaking Tyson's greatest taboo. That taboo is presumably violence, and so when people come to kill Tyson, expecting a bunch of lovey-dovey pacifist hippies who can't fight back, they'll be surprised when one of the most seasoned hunters on this ship starts mowing them down. So yes, Tyson absolutely does not have what it takes to win the succession war, but survive? I think she can do that. Lucerus, on the other hand, is screwed for several reasons. Firstly, Kaiser, Melody, and Cacho Beast attempted to assassinate him, and frankly, I think they succeeded. Secondly, I fully believe the theory that his guard, Rice, is possessed by a Halenberg helper, and could have easily aided in that assassination attempt. See, most assassins have to be discreet, because they worry about what'll happen if they're caught and punished, but not Rice. Since Rice isn't really Rice, if he's executed, whoever was possessing him will just wake up and all will be well for them. And aside from all this, even if Lucerus escaped, he's gone to the Cha'ar hideout, which is a terrible idea for all the reasons I explained with Zong Lelay. The one thing Lucerus has over Zong is that his Nen Beast is actually useful to protect him, but still, he didn't have nearly as many competent people trying to kill him either. Ninth Prince Halenberg is not gonna make it. Ignoring the fact that he might already be dead, he is rapidly sliding into the same kind of murderous territory as the older princes, and his moral degeneration has been quite rapid ever since Nasabi got him to start listening to My Chemical Romance. With his situation growing increasingly more desperate, I can imagine him quickly coming to the conclusion that he has to purge his entire bloodline to save his country. He kinda right though. And what's more, I think I know exactly what would flip the switch in his brain. See, if like I firmly believe, Rice is possessed by a Halenberg helper, that helper probably saw Fugettu attempt to murder Lucerus. And if Fugettu, who was once the kindest and sweetest girl who would never ever hurt a fly, has stooped to actively murdering her siblings, Well, I can easily imagine Halenberg going, "Oh my god, none of them are innocent. They all need to go." So yeah, narratively, this man is just not gonna make it. Speaking of my Foogly Woogly Bear, all the copium in the world can't convince me that her chances of living are good. First of all, she's risked her life to assassinate Lucerus. Even if she survived that, it didn't accomplish anything because Lucerus is not the source of her curse. In other words, she's still cursed. And even if we believe my copium-induced theory that Fugettu isn't really cursed and is in fact becoming a monster, as explored in this video, like, get real. That's still a very bad sign for her. Who knows how insane she'll go once she learns Cacho has died. She might end up needing to be killed, just like the other princes. You know who's probably not going to have any part in that, though? Mariam. We have zero reason to believe his pocket dimension can be accessed, and I genuinely think he might survive the succession war just by doing absolutely nothing. All he has to do, probably, is chill, and this whole thing is going to work itself out without him. Sure, there's a would-be assassin in his room, but there's no goddamn way said assassin has exactly the right ability to kill him without being stopped by Bisky, Hanzo, and or his guardian spirit beast, which is one of the more aggressive and formidable ones we've seen. And last but not least, Wubble is Wubble. Wubble has Kurapika. Kurapika is him. Therefore, Wubble is safe. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I've been CJ from Suck War Central, and I hope you have a wonderful day.